Hey guys, Sam again. Hey, so I had a request to take a look at Ripple, and I wanted to look at it both in Bitcoin and against the dollar. And just coincidentally, if you head over to CoinGecko, interestingly, Ripple has now taken over the fourth spot in the ranking metrics that CoinGecko uses. Just kind of an interesting development. So let's go take a look at it. Now, one of the things that you can always do, I'm on Poloniex here, we can always look at how any particular coin is moving against Bitcoin and against the dollar. So if we look against the dollar, we can see that Ripple is up. We've got a 5% change, and against Bitcoin, also in the positive. So now keep in mind that when you're making the decision between whether or not you want to trade it against Bitcoin or against the dollar, remember that you're spreading it, right? So if you're trading Ripple against Bitcoin, you're making the assumption that Ripple is going to outperform Bitcoin. If you're trading against the dollar, you're spreading against the dollar. So in this case, because I'm bullish Bitcoin and I'm bearish the dollar, of course I want to look at it against the dollar. So let's start with that, although we'll also look at it against Bitcoin. So here we are with the Ripple to the US dollar tether on Poloniex. Let me get this out of here. Okay, so let's start indicator free. And we'll blow this up a little bit. So again, same methodology. If you were approaching this market, well, we can see that we've got some sort of a five-wave sequence here. We've got a 1, we've got a 2, we've got a 3, we've got a 4, and a 5. And we could expect that there were likely fib relationships here. So here we can see we hit the 50, we're 23, we react, we get way through. I mean, that's going to be challenging the 100%. We don't quite get there, but, you know, again, a raging bull. So my guess is off of this low, 50. So here's your first clue, right, that we've got a change of trend. So we get through the 50, we're up, and then we start to fail. Now we're through the 618. So coming back the other direction, you'd expect that relationship to continue. So we can see it. Here we got the 50, 50 to the tick. Look at that one. From hit this low, we tick the 50, come back to the 23, back up again. Then we go down to the 618. Now note here, you know, at this point, you'd have to be suspect of this. You might maintain a bullish bias because of that break of the 618, but because we fall back down into it, you know, I would draw the opposite direction as well, and you'll see that one of the things that, again, as I mentioned the other day, that you'll often see is if it breaks by a small amount here, if it breaks by a small amount, you can almost always expect to see that break on the other side of equal amount. So is this stop running? Is this a new trend developing? You know, there was no way to know at that moment in time. But at that point, you'd draw up the bullish fib swings. We get the reaction here at the 50. We fail back to the 618. And now we're kind of stuck in this range. So from here, we know I happen to be bullish on Ripple. I like the story. I think there's great long-term potential here. But so we know that the algos are in, and we know that the fibs are being respected. So we look here again. So if we're just drawing this now, we're taking the obvious. I'm on an 8-hour, I should mention. So we're taking the obvious swing low here up to the swing high. We can see we come down to the 618 to the tick, up, and we fail. Back down. We're trying again. We're trying again, and we're wicking through it, but bodies hold it. Again, notice that while we're through a little bit, just as we were up here, the market is trying to get higher from it. So this is actually a good example in suggesting that there's no clear Elliott count here. So could I squeeze a count into this? Sure. You can make a case that we're in some sort of a corrective 4. But I don't. It's not so obvious that it just is jumping out at me. So with that said, I'm going to keep an Elliott count away from this and just work off the fib swings as I proposed to you. That's all that you ever need. So we've got this clearly is a significant level here. So we've tested it, multiple tests here, couldn't get the new high. We're back. Some volatility, likely stop running, right? You see this all the time at 50s and 618s, particularly on the 618, because traders know that they're going to be stops sitting just underneath it. So those are wicked out, stopped out, up they go again. But we've got a market that's really there's indecision here. So, of course, we've got to pull from the other side. I'd pull here. So take note, we come up to the 50. That's the resistance. We don't get anywhere. Back, we wick through the 618, the likely stop running happening there. Then we're back down. So we can't get any resolution of any of these counts. We can't get to the negative 23 on the bearish side. We can't get through. We can't get through the 50s on the other side. So we've just got to mark it in indecision. We've got a range. So, of course, one very reasonable position here is to be out of this market. I happen to be in the market and long, but that's not really relevant to you guys. My point being that if you were approaching this today, you were not in the market, and all you'd seen is that the market was reacting. It was one of the better performers against the dollar, and particularly against Bitcoin, that this might be a place to go look. So I would go through that same sequence. I'd go to CoinGecko. Where are we in the ranking? Where are we in volume? How's it looking? Is there any chatter on Twitter? Anything that might be fuel for the market to start to move. So if we come back to this, of course, we could go down to smaller time frames. Let's go to a 2-hour. And take a look at this. We'd want to, of course, pull from this swing. It's not pretty. It's not pretty, right? We're breaking 618s pretty substantially. 786 is holding, right? So potentially you've got some sort of an ugly impulse here. You don't get a clear 5 here. You might have a truncated 5th. It's not pretty either way. It's not pretty. If you wanted to be getting long the market because you like their story, because you like the long-term potential, as I do, then you might just start with some simple channel work. We've got potential. Whenever you've got 3 pivots, we've always got a potential pitchfork as well. Yeah. I'd use that one. So we're outside the swing. Some sort of a double bottom here. So that's reasonable. Look at the projection, see where the 23 comes right to the median line, and we're likely to hit resistance at that 50. So that's a reasonable target. All right, a reasonable target. Could you put a trade on there? Sure. I'd rather catch it a little bit lower, to tell you the truth. Giving it a little room below the 618, knowing that it's wicking there. They're running stops. Is that a trade? 2 to 1? Sure. I wouldn't buy it yet. I'd wait for a little bit more of a pullback. If I could get it down here at the 618, even better. That lowers my risk. That gives me a little more room. I'd rather buy it if we get down there, knowing that it may not come back down. May not come back down. Just about a 3 to 1 there. We've let's go down to a 45 minute. And I'm going to guess that we've, just looking at this, tag the 50, hold the 618. Right on that larger wave count, we've tagged that 50. Let me tighten these up. There's your first target on the smaller time frame. Tradable? Sure. It's not the prettiest count I've ever seen, but you've got a 3-wave corrective structure here that tags the 50, holds the 618. Now we're starting to move away from it. Absolutely tradable. Is it the best trade on the board? Probably not. So if you're not long the market, I don't know that there's enough quality structure here to be looking to put money into this particular market. But is there a trade there? Sure. Let's look at it in Bitcoin. Where did I put it? Here we go. Same approach. Fresh to the market. The algo's in. Well, let's draw from this low here. This is the obvious place. Come down a few ticks. Look how we. That's why it's always wild to draw these. Look how we respect that high and the 618. Where do we go? 23. We stall up to the 618. Now we're coming back down. If we were drawing all the way, we're breaking along the way. We know this was an important swing. So we come down. We hold the 618 here. We can't get through. Starting to get ugly on the way down. We break the 618, 786 holds. At this point, we've got a bearish market. So we'd be drawing from the other side. How does it look? Again, just getting some degree of confidence that you've got algos at work. They front run the 50, 23, bounce right to the 618. On the way down, they're front running at the 38. Look at that. They front run it at the 38 right to the 23. Again, they front run the 38 and ultimately take it all the way down to the 23 and a little bit through it. So now coming back the other way, we know we've got a completed sequence here. We know algos have taken profit here. Do we have potential coming back up? Now, look, take note here how this level has been resistance twice now. So we know that's an important level. So if we're approaching this, let's go down to a 4-hour. And just draw them like we always do. Well, let's see what happened here. Take a look at that. So we go up here, come down, the 618 holds through the 23 up to the to the negative 618. Nice looking trade right there. Back down to the 50. The 50 holds. Can't get the new high. Starts to break. Here we clearly have broken. 786 still holding, right? But just not ideal. So you got to come back the other direction. Just so we don't get too cluttered. The 38 seems to be important in this market. Antsy traders, front running, but they can't get a new low. So you got to be aware of the fact that all this resistance is here. If you're trading this against Bitcoin, you got to think: Am I bullish or bearish on Bitcoin relative to Ripple? Do I want to trade this in the dollar, or do I want to trade it against Bitcoin? I would propose to you I'd prefer to trade it against the dollar. From this low to this high, what have we done? We've broken the 786. It's not ideal. We're likely to hit resistance on the way up on this time frame. Now we're on the 4-hour. Okay, well there's some hope for the bulls there. We've wicked through the 618. We've come back down under it. I want to see a close with body above the 618. So that's potentially bullish. We're likely, let's go down to the 1-hour. You'll get to where you almost don't even need to pull it. You can just see it. So look at that. So on the 1-hour, we come down to the 50. Ticket right up to the 23. Profit taking. Since then, there's some stop running on the 618. Headed to the 23. Not there yet. Tradable? Yeah. Would I trade it there? No. Now I'd wait for the sequence to repeat. Got a few ticks from the 50. I wouldn't be in now. Trade's already left. Trade's already gone. Too much risk. Right? Because if you're buying it here, yeah, you got upside. You got a target. But now you got a risk at least to here. Better looking risk reward here. Right? Too late to take that against Bitcoin, in my view. At least I wouldn't take it. But are the algos in? Yeah, absolutely. Footprints all over the place. Better looking trade against the dollar, in my view. Same thing's happening here. There's the the 50, 618 holds. Here's your upside. There's your larger upside. A little bit early for the trade, but there's a trade there for sure. You know, ideally, particularly when you're trading with median lines, you want to see it kiss that outside corner. That's the better looking trade. I'd probably go tight on the first one. If we break this 618, which it has a tendency to wick through it, I might give that a little bit more room. Keep the size appropriate because we have a market that's unresolved in either direction. But we've got potential here. So if we start to, you know, we've had this ABC. If we get a little pullback here, you know, I mean, you kind of have to watch them as they develop. And now we add some oscillators. Help us with timing. There's really, you know, there's nothing there to say it's good timing to buy it. Nothing really to say it's good timing to sell it. This is one to watch. It's one to watch. Anyway, I thought I'd go over that for you since I had a request. Okay, guys, that's all for now.